So creepy Joe Biden still can't help himself when it comes to underage school children. And of course, we're not seeing any major news outlets reporting on this in any serious type of way. So what do you make of this situation, especially since before the 2016 election, the media went crazy over the Access Hollywood tapes of President or then candidate Trump using locker room language to describe consensual actions with grown women. But here we have Biden practically flirting with little girls in crickets.
Yeah, well, first of all, is it okay? Are we cleared to discuss this? Because wasn't it just like a week or two ago where Joe Biden said, oh, you're not allowed to talk to me about my husband's gaffes, not with President Trump. Good try. Nice try, Joe Biden, because this is just, it's a never-ending gaffe factory from Joe Biden, in part because there's so many reasons why. And of course, I'm not a psychiatrist. I can't get in his head and crawl around. But this is a man that just, I think in part because he's so incredibly disingenuous, phony, inauthentic, and he's like a one-man personal pandering pandemic going around all these different communities. So some of it is born out of pandering, and most of it probably is. I do think it's a little bit different than the Billy Bush audio tape, because that was two guys, one of whom thinks that, Donald Trump, thinking he's not being recorded, thinking he's got a private conversation. This is a former vice president of the United States on the campaign trail to be president, looking around in a crowd and zeroing in on a group of young girls and, like, in a creepy way, flirting with them. And the awkward applause from the people in the crowd was equally disturbing.
Definitely. And we also have seen Joe Biden, this is a long history from, as you mentioned, whenever there's young girls, young children in general around him, whether it be confirmations when he was back in the Senate, he likes to put his hands all around the children, on their shoulders, on their necks, on their heads. A lot of times you even see a lot of these children are shying away from him, trying to get away, and still he continues. And in fact, we saw the infamous hug that he gave to Hillary Clinton when she drops her arms and he still continues to hold her. So we know Joe Biden has a history of this. In fact, last year, about 8 women came out in total who had worked for him in various capacities on the campaign trail, when he was a senator, when he was a vice president. And they all said that he made him feel very uncomfortable, that what he does on camera, he does even more so behind closed doors. And of course, Tara Reade came out with some very forceful, very credible accusations this year of actual sexual assault. Her mother went on Larry King back in the 90s and described it. She has evidence and corroboration from people who knew her to back up her claims. And today I want to get your reaction, because she was reacting to Biden talking about these young girls, asking them to dance for him. And she says this isn't aging well, Biden and his comments. So I'd like to get your take on Tara Reade and the situation of the left who pretends to care about women and don't.
Yeah, well, I think we've got two tracks here. We've got the one that I was referencing, which is the bad campaigner who's out on a campaign trail. They know that they're losing black support. They know that they're losing support from the Latino community. So he's down in Miami, trying to pander to that crowd. Yesterday, a video came out to where, he's saying, oh, I'm able to stay at home because some black woman was stocking shelves. So that's one of the tracks we've got here from the inappropriate comments that he's saying on the campaign trail because he's inauthentic. The other is what you accurately described, which is his own personal history of actual behavior around people that he's with. And he seems to find these moments to where they're kind of hostage, right? Where we see these videotapes of him in the White House or wherever, these events, and somebody's in front of the cameras in the world and they're trapped. What do I do? And then we've got these former people who worked with him, like, Tara Reade. Single-handedly, Joe Biden has destroyed the Me Too movement because, you don't even see anybody hashtag about it before, because the protections of women in the workplace. And by the way, if I was still in corporate America, I couldn't hire Joe Biden based upon just that one video alone. But then here we've got people that worked with him over and over and over again, making these female colleagues of him, very credible allegations of physical assaults like Tara Reade, and you don't hear anything about it. Creepy, cranky Uncle Joe, in many ways, is the guy you put up with at reunions. The fact that the Democrats are trying to put up this man with his history of inappropriate comments and behaviors in the White House should make the hair on the back of the neck of every woman in this country raised up.